this is your very own ancient history geek, Chris from Holy Retardation, reporting for duty from downtown Ulpia Serdica, where some quite remarkable restoration works are taking place. Let me put it this way, have you ever seen an ancient city with a garage door for a gate? 'Cause I have. But anyway, this is a topic for another place and time, because now we're gonna go on with our huge HBO Rome review. Once again, I use a dual system of reviewing stuff. I nerd out about things that I like, and I bitch about things that I hate. And HBO's Rome is one of my most favorite things in the world, so it's only natural that this review be a monumental nerd contribution of maniacal love. So last time we were reviewing the second part of episode 2 of season 1, and this is going to be part 3. The episode's title is How Titus Pullo Brought Down the Republic, and we're taking off from about 30 minutes into the episode, where Mark Antony threatens the Senate that Caesar will bite them in the ass. They get on each other's throats soon enough, and the meeting is over. On their way back home, we see the senators discuss Caesar's apparent weakness and certain demise. And it sounds to me like this is one of those a little annoying expositions, but in this case, I realize it's not so much the exposition, because the regular viewers really need this kind of stuff, but it's this guy's voice, the actor that plays Pompey. His voice is a little too clear and perfect, and should I say, I don't know, teachery? And he sounds as if he's giving us a history lesson or a documentary or something. And I'm not saying that the actor is bad, he's actually totally fine. And I might even say too good for the role, because he sounds so Shakespearean. And on that little note, let's cut it out with the bitching, because it's nudity time. Pullo is still partying in the streets of Rome, and we see him pay some homage to the gods in front of a small altar. Now, I don't know what god that would be, and I'm not able to comment on these little shrines that are sprinkled all over the city. I'm just gonna say that this reminds me of Greece, because I spent one summer there, and those people had like mini churches every 50 meters, at least in the towns that I visited, that is. Whatever the case, I don't know much about those, and I never care to venture into it, because I don't care about religion. But when you see this scene in Rome, you can't help but admire the sheer amount of sexiness in this old rascal, and the total in-your-face kind of vulgarity of HBO. And I mean that in a good way, not in the way they're doing it with Game of Thrones, where porn is porn because porn. So yeah, the latest must be drooling over the scene, and I once again refrained from showing old penises in my review. Pullo decides to go play some poker on deep Pompeian territory. I really like this. I don't think I've ever seen other films get that much historical about it, showing the opposition of Caesar and Pompey's forces dividing the streets of Rome, just like nowadays the regular mob of idiots separates itself to back different politicians, and people kill each other because they are brainless sheep. You can clearly see my deep love for humanity. So Pullo's gonna play the dice with this nice young man. Just by looking at his face, we notice how things are gonna turn out. The guy knows these dices like he produced them with his kidneys. Then it's all about sex, sex, sex. Varinus finally gets laid after 8 years of Gallic chastity, and if you'd venture to consult the feminist community, Niobe is getting raped. I guess the crying baby about a meter from the copulation site should be disturbing to the viewer, but I don't really care about it. It reminds me of my infancy, and I'm not even kidding. We then go on with the sex, only this time we don't have a crying baby near the love nest. Instead, it's our happy and sunshiny slave, Merula, weaving some wool or something. I guess this is also supposed to be shocking, and again, it's not shocking to me, and no, this is not because of personal experience. Although I haven't asked my grandmother where she used to spin her spindles. I don't know, it's just that I've probably seen enough circuses at this point, and it's made me immune. The whole household's enjoying the audio version of the hot sex, including the children and the slaves. And when you think of how opened up these Roman houses were spatially, we can probably rest assured about how the Palatine Hill having heard the sex wails of Caesar's niece. Then what happens is precisely what we saw coming. Our rage-prone protagonist gets pissed off and we see some action. Fake dice tricks revealed, and the cheater gets a good stab in the throat. I mean, what does this idiot expect? Talk about subtle cheating and concealing your confidence. Then our brave and stupid Pullo takes on the whole freaking bar, and for a moment it looks as if he's gonna wreck them. But HBO's Rome is supposed to be realistic, and our hero's skull is smashed a bit. Smashed enough to make us a little bit scared, but not smashed enough for us to think that he's gonna die. I mean, it's only the second episode, after all, and I've been doing this freaking review for over a year now, I think. Whatever, point is, Pulo is in a rough situation, but we all know he's not gonna die. And by the way, I love how he can take on a whole freaking bar of hostile men, but then a woman takes him out. Look at how badass this old bitch is. And Pulo's reaction when he gets skull slapped is so amazing. I just love the actor. You see the sudden terror and pain in his face. You see the shock, and at the same time the sober realization that a tough bastard like him can actually get hurt. It's fucking scary. It doesn't look like a stupid ass Hollywood movie where they hit him and they pass out into heaven. It looks as if he really feels the horror and we viewers get hit right alongside him. If you've seen, for example, I don't know, a person having a stroke, let's say, this scene from HBO's Rome looks almost as creepy as that, at least to me. And then the sounds Pulo makes when he's trying to find his way out of the bar. It's not something like, ah, oh, ow. He's just whimpering and almost crying like a kid, in terror. And it really makes your otherwise stone-cold bastard of a heart care. In the next scene, we see our favorite nerdgasmic Roman calendar, the one with the cool figurines we encountered in the show intro. Totally epic. And a small note, is that somewhere in the forum? Was there really such a huge calendar somewhere on some wall in the city? I haven't done any research on this, but I suppose it's totally plausible since we have pieces left of the Forum Urbis, and I even think the map was bigger than this calendar. Oh, now that I'm looking at it from a distance, I think I know where this is on the set. I think it's right next to the replica of the Temple of Saturn, where they have this little gate that leads up the Via Appia to go straight up the Capitoline Hill. I'm not exactly sure, but I think I'm gonna see it when I upload the picture for the video. Note to future self. If I'm currently right, in the future you will be able to see the picture with the precise location of this calendar right now. Okay, so then Pulo barges into Vorenus' house with his brains drying in the sun, and his good friend gets a doctor. Then we see an amazing scene of an ancient surgery. I mean, Dr. House can suck my modern day dick with all his medical equipments and drugs. This is tough ass medical care, where your only sedative is eternal fucking sleep. And I love how he's all chained up with metal rings on his head and everything. It's as if Dr. Frankenstein's making his monster in ancient Rome. And then we see all these people around came to look at some brain splattering, bringing all their microbes and filth into the emergency room of Jupiter Maximus Surgical Center. Then we see all the appalled grandmas going, ew, ugh. And then the little kid in the corner is like, I want to see it close. It reminds me so much of myself when I was a kid. Everyone around me and all the other kids getting grossed out, and then there's me making my very own collection of preserved snakes and frogs, all dissected and stuff. I still have those in my old room back home. I'm still gross and weird, and I'm proud of it. What the fuck is that? Some kind of bone saw or something? Looks so amazing. I wonder to what extent these instruments are historically accurate. I know of quite a few medical instruments that have been preserved, but I've never seen or heard of that motherfucker. And then that final metal cap that they used to close up his skull, that looked so fucking horrible. I've experienced something similar myself, where they have to do something to your head and you hear every tiny sound as if it's a fucking comet smashing into the Pacific Ocean. I had like an ear problem once and I stuck needles in there, and yeah, no need for details. But for me personally, that metal cap tapping was the creepiest part of the whole surgery. There will be some pus, says the doctor, and it's gonna get putrid. But it'll be all to the good. I mean, putrid pus coming out of your skull? When was that ever a bad sign? The good doctor points out one of the coins is brass, so he's probably Jewish. Then he advises Vorenus to make a sacrifice to the gods, especially a white rabbit seems to have worked in previous cases. I'd say this is one genius doctor, but hey, it's not like Pulo didn't survive, so what the hell, go kill some rabbits. Then follows another favorite scene of mine, where Vorenus storms out on some business and Niobe doesn't like it, but when she objects, Vorenus shuts her up, cause he will not take that tone from a woman. Then he leaves and Niobe spews the fires out. My father's cook! How's that for tone? I just love so much how real this all is. Indira Varma says it like the typical domestic bitch on curse mode. So we get to the slave market and we see some poor bastard branded. Then some more getting sold and some stacked up in the cells. Pretty realistic depiction of the slave market, which of course makes for an awesome scene. And with that, I'm gonna pull the drapes. This was part 3 of my review of how Titus Pullo brought down the Republic, which falls under the category My Huge HBO Rome Review. Next in line is part 4 of the same episode. So thank you guys for watching. For Holy Retardation, this is Chris.